Welcome back, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into Microsoft's new data analytics platform,
Oh, yeah.
Fabric.
Fabric, yeah.
You shared a really insightful article with us, Strategizing for Success, Navigating the Power BI License Hike for Analytic Decision Makers. And let me tell you, it does not shy away from some pretty big changes in price hikes
Right.
on the horizon.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So,
It's definitely a major shift in the landscape. Microsoft's bringing together some of its biggest players, Power BI, Azure Synapse Analytics, and Azure Data Factory
oh, wow.
into this one platform.
Yeah, the article even compares it to the introduction of ERP systems back in the day,
Yeah,
which is a pretty bold statement.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
But before we get into all that, what really jumped out at me was the cost increase.
Yeah,
Just to maintain the same level of reporting access you're currently using,
right.
you're potentially looking at a 68% jump in price.
It's a lot.
That's huge.
It is.
It definitely makes you sit up and pay attention.
It does make you wonder if you're getting a good deal, right?
Yeah.
Let's break it down. So right now, you're likely using Power BI Premium. You know, those PSSUs for Capacity Fabric uses a new system, the FSUs.
Okay.
And that's where the biggest price difference comes in. The article gives the example of the P1 Astro, the most basic one for sharing reports without individual pro licenses. It costs about $60,000 annually.
But if you want to do the same thing in Fabric, you'd need the F64 SESQ, which costs over $100,000
You're looking at over $100,000 a year.
per year. That's a difference of almost $41,000 annually.
Yeah,
Plus, there's the added cost of storage with Fabric's OneLake,
right.
which runs an extra 0.023 cents per GB per month.
Per GB per month on top of it.
It's enough to make anyone rethink their data strategy.
I know, absolutely. It's
Right.
certainly a wake-up call.
For sure.
But before you hit the panic button, the article outlines some really smart strategies
Yeah.
for navigating these changes and even coming out ahead.
Okay, you've got my attention. What's the game plan?
Well, it boils down to two main approaches. The first is all about optimizing your licensing costs for Fabric.
Okay.
Think of it like squeezing every bit of value out of your budget.
Frugal data analytics.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
The author's first suggestion might surprise you in negotiation.
Oh, really?
They point out that Microsoft is essentially discontinuing the PSUs,
Right.
so that might give you some leverage to negotiate a better deal.
Okay.
Reach out to your Microsoft sales rep and see what's possible.
Right.
They might be more willing to work with you than you think, especially if you're a longtime customer.
I've heard they're really pushing for everyone to adopt Fabric, so maybe they'll be more flexible on pricing to make that transition smoother.
Exactly.
Good tip. What else can we do to soften the blow to our budgets?
If you're ready to make a commitment, reserved instances are a great way to save.
Okay.
You basically lock in a price for 1 or 3 years
Hmm.
in exchange for a significant discount. We're talking a potential annual savings of over 40% on that F64 SKU. If you commit for a year,
Okay.
the Azure pricing calculator is really helpful for comparing those costs.
That's a pretty big incentive to go long term.
Mm.
But what about those of us who need a bit more flexibility maybe for projects with unpredictable usage patterns?
Well, Fabric has a new feature that could be a game changer.
Okay.
You can actually pause your compute capacity when you're not using it.
Wait, seriously. So if I have a project that's only active for a few weeks or months out of the year,
Yep.
I don't have to pay for a full year of capacity.
This was a major pain point with the old PCUs.
Right.
But Fabric gives you much more control over your spending. You can manually pause or even set up automatic schedules using Azure Logic apps.
Okay, so I can essentially hit the pause button on my data analytics spending.
You got it.
Are there any catches?
Just one thing to keep in mind. There's a 24-hour smoothing window for usage. That means even if you pause, you'll still be billed for any usage within that 24-hour period.
Okay.
So plan ahead and don't cut it too close to the deadline if you want to maximize those savings.
Good point. It's like a little buffer zone.
Right.
So we've got negotiation reserved instances and the ability to pause capacity. Any other cost-saving tricks up our sleeve?
Absolutely. Fabric offers a more responsive and granular scaling system compared to those older PSUs. Remember those frustrating delays and potential downtime when you needed to adjust your capacity? Fabric eliminates all that.
So more flexibility and control.
Yeah,
I'm liking this already.
more control, yeah.
Can you walk me through how that might play out in a real-world scenario?
Sure, imagine you're developing a new solution.
Yeah.
You could start with a smaller F2 SKU to keep costs down during those initial stages. Then, as your project grows and requires more resources, you can easily bump up to an F4 or even higher while you're in development.
Oh.
Once you're ready to deploy and share those reports, you can scale back down,
Okay.
paying only for what you need.
That makes a lot of sense. Right-sizing your capacity throughout the life cycle of a project.
Right.
It's all about efficiency.
Efficiency, yeah.
But optimizing licensing is only one piece of the puzzle, right? The article also talks about getting the most value out of each capacity unit.
Exactly. It's like buying a fancy sports car.
Yeah.
You don't want to just drive it to the grocery store. You want to take it out on the open road and experience its full potential.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. Let's dive into that second strategy. How do we make those fabric capacity units work harder and smarter for us?
It all starts with rethinking our workflows. Simply migrating your old Power BI processes to Fabric without considering its unique strengths
Right.
might actually end up costing you more. The author points out that the cost per capacity unit in Fabric is almost double
Oh, wow.
that of Power BI premium capacity.
Double the cost. That definitely emphasizes the need to be strategic.
Precisely. We need to embrace the power of Fabric's diverse tool set.
Right.
For example, if you are relying on long-running data flows on a P1 SKU for your ETL processes, moving those directly to an F64 might not be the best use of your resources. You're paying more for those capacity units without necessarily getting a performance boost.
So how do we approach this strategically?
The key is to choose the right tool for the job. Instead of sticking with those old data flows, consider replacing them with Spark notebooks.
I've heard about Spark. Can you explain what makes it so special?
Spark can often handle complex ETL tasks much faster than traditional data flows.
Oh, wow.
It's like swapping out a bicycle for a high-powered sports car.
Okay.
You'll get to your destination much quicker and with less effort.
That's a great analogy. So moving to Fabric is more than just a technical migration. It's about embracing a whole new way of thinking about data and workflows.
Right.
It's exciting and a little daunting at the same time.
It is. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
And while re-architecting your entire data infrastructure can seem overwhelming, the article recommends a more targeted approach.
Okay.
Start by pinpointing your most resource-intensive assets.
So figure out what's hogging all the capacity and tackle those first.
Exactly. The Microsoft Fabric Capacity Metrics app is a great tool for this.
Oh, cool.
It lets you rank your assets by their capacity unit consumption so you can focus your optimization efforts where they'll have the biggest impact.
That's a really practical tip. It's like prioritizing your to-do list based on what will save you the most time and energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So far, it seems like the theme is all about optimization, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And that optimization extends beyond just how we build and manage our data pipelines.
Okay.
It also applies to how we think about data consumption.
All right.
Fabric offers a lot more than just your typical Power BI reports.
Right.
You've got SQL endpoints, Spark notebooks, and a whole host of other tools at your disposal.
So it's about finding the right tool for the right task and the right user.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about those massive data exports that clog up your systems and eat up tons of resources.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones where users download entire data sets into Excel because they can't easily query the data they need directly.
Oh, I know those all too well. They're like the data equivalent of a traffic jam.
Exactly. But Fabric offers a more elegant solution. By provisioning SQL endpoints on top of your Fabric semantic models. You can give users who are comfortable with SQL the ability to query the data they need in a targeted, efficient way.
Okay.
No more massive exports. No more wasted capacity units.
That's a really smart approach. It empowers users to be more self-sufficient and efficient, which ultimately benefits everyone.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how Fabric could really change how we work with data.
It's a fundamental shift. The author actually compares it to the ERP moment for analytics.
Wow, ERP moment.
Highlighting just how big of a change this is.
That's a pretty powerful statement. What exactly do they mean by that?
They're saying that Fabric isn't just a new tool. It's a complete reimagining of the data analytics landscape. Just like ERP systems integrated various business processes, Fabric is bringing together the world of data analytics under one unified platform.
So it's not just about learning a new piece of software, it's about adapting to a whole new way of working.
Exactly, and that means upskilling our teams.
Okay.
And equipping them with the knowledge and skills to thrive in this new landscape.
Right.
It's a significant transition, no doubt about it.
It sounds like we've got a lot to unpack here. We've explored the economic side of the Fabric transition, dove into some pretty savvy cost optimization strategies, and even gotten a glimpse of its transformative potential. What's next?
Well, now that you understand the challenges and opportunities that come with Fabric, we're going to dive even deeper in part 2. We'll explore how it changes the game in terms of data governance collaboration, and even how we think about our team's skills.
It's getting really interesting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to dive into part 2.
Yeah, me too.
When we left off in part 1, you mentioned Fabric being the ERP moment for analytics.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that's been stuck in my head ever since.
It's a good one.
What makes this shift so significant? I mean, we've all seen new tools and platforms come and go, but the article we're discussing, Strategizing for Success, makes it clear that this is something different.
It really is. Fabric isn't just a shiny new toy. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about and manage data analytics. Remember how ERP systems integrated all those different business processes, finance, HR, supply chain?
Yeah.
Well, Fabric is doing the same thing for the world of data.
Okay, so it's not just about learning a new tool. It's about adapting to a whole new way of working that's a big deal. What are some of the key areas where Fabric is really changing the game?
Let's start with data governance and security. One of the biggest advantages of Fabric is that it brings all your data together in one place, what they call one lake. It's like a central hub for all your data needs.
So no more data scattered across different silos and systems.
Right.
That sounds like a dream come true for anyone who's ever had to wrangle data from a million different sources.
It's a game changer, especially when it comes to governance and security. With one lake, you can apply consistent policies and controls across your entire data estate. This means better compliance with regulations and stronger protection for sensitive information.
I can see how that would be a huge relief for organizations, especially with all the data privacy regulations out there these days.
Yeah.
But it's not just about keeping data safe, right?
Right.
It's also about making it more accessible and usable.
Absolutely. Fabric makes it so much easier for users to find and access the data they need without having to jump through hoops or navigate a maze of permissions.
So it's about streamlining data discovery and empowering users to be more self-sufficient.
Right.
That leads to better decision-making
Yeah.
and ultimately a more data-driven organization.
Exactly. And speaking of empowerment, another area where Fabric shines is collaboration. It's designed to foster teamwork among data professionals, business users, and decision makers.
Okay, I'm really curious about this in the past. Collaborating on data projects has often felt like herding cats.
It can be.
Everyone's working in their own silo using different tools and versions, and it's just a mess. How does Fabric make collaboration smoother?
One of the key features is the shared workspace environment. Imagine a virtual data lab where everyone can access the same data tools and insights. Teams can work together on projects in real time, share their findings, and build on each other's work.
So no more emailing giant data sets back and forth or trying to figure out whose version is the most up to date.
Exactly. And to make things even smoother, Fabric has built-in tools for version control, change tracking, and documentation.
Oh, nice.
Everyone is always on the same page, literally.
That would save so much time and frustration. It sounds like Fabric could really transform how data teams work together.
It's a whole new level of collaboration. And it doesn't stop there. Fabric also integrates AI and machine learning throughout the platform.
Oh, wow.
Making it easier than ever to extract deeper insights from your data.
I know AI and machine learning are buzzwords these days,
Yeah.
but in the context of Fabric, they seem less like hype and more like truly game-changing capabilities.
They really are. Fabric puts these powerful tools in the hands of everyday users, making it easy to do things like prepare data, build predictive models, and detect anomalies. And those insights can then be seamlessly integrated into reports, dashboards, and other visualizations.
So it's not just about analyzing data, it's about making data-driven decisions. Right?
Exactly. Fabric empowers everyone to understand the story behind the numbers and use that knowledge to make better, more informed decisions.
This is pretty mind-blowing stuff. We've gone from sticker shock at those price increases to seeing how Fabric could fundamentally change how we work with data. It's a lot to take in.
I know it's a lot, but we're not done yet. In part 3, we'll shift gears and get practical. We'll talk about the specific steps you can take to prepare for this Fabric revolution, including what skills you need to develop and how to create a roadmap for success.
I'm already thinking about what my team needs to start doing to get ready for this shift. This is valuable stuff. I can't wait to hear what you have to say in part 3.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Microsoft Fabric. In parts 1 and 2, we talked about those pretty hefty price increases,
Yeah.
explored some clever ways to save money, and even got a glimpse of how Fabric could revolutionize the way we work with data.
It's powerful stuff.
But now it's time to get down to brass tacks.
Right.
What can you actually do to prepare for this Fabric revolution? Because let's be realistic, it's not just about flipping a switch and migrating everything overnight. It's a journey.
It is. It's definitely a process.
And like any good journey, it requires a roadmap.
Absolutely.
So where do we even begin?
Well, the article we've been discussing, Strategizing for Success, outlines some practical steps you can take right now to get ready. The first step is to take stock of your current skills.
So it's not just about learning a new tool. It's about making sure your team has the right skills to thrive in this new Fabric world.
Exactly. This transition isn't just about learning new software. It's about adopting a whole new way of thinking about data analytics. Think about the areas that are essential in the world of Fabric. Data engineering, data warehousing, machine learning. Do you have those bases covered?
That's a good point. We might need to do a bit of a skills assessment to see where the gaps are. But let's say we do identify some areas where we need to beef up our expertise. What then?
Well, the good news is that Microsoft offers a ton of resources to help you upskill. They've got online training courses, certification programs, you name it. There's something for everyone.
I remember you mentioned the DP600 certification earlier. That seems like a good starting point for anyone wanting to get a solid foundation in Fabric.
Absolutely. The DP600 covers the fundamentals of data engineering with Fabric. And if you want to go deeper, they also offer specialized certifications for Power BI, Azure Synapse Analytics, and Azure Data Factory.
So you can really tailor your learning path to your specific needs and interests. I like that. But training courses and certifications can only take you so far. At some point, you need to get your hands dirty, right?
Couldn't agree more. The next step is to start experimenting with Fabric. And the best part is that Microsoft offers a free trial so you can kick the tires and explore all the features without any financial commitment.
That's a great way to get a feel for the platform and see how it all works in practice. What kind of things should we be trying out during this trial period?
This is your chance to get creative. Think about those real-world business problems you're trying to solve. Could Fabric help you streamline your data ingestion process? Build a more robust data warehouse? Develop a predictive model? This is the time to experiment and see what's possible.
I like it. It's like a sandbox for data geeks.
Yeah.
We don't want all that experimentation to go to waste, right?
Definitely not. As you're experimenting, make sure you document everything. What worked, what didn't. Share your insights with your team and build a knowledge base that can be used to guide your future implementations.
That documentation will be invaluable when it comes time to actually migrate to Fabric. Speaking of migration, any tips on how to approach that process strategically?
My advice: start small and iterate. Don't try to move everything to Fabric at once. That's just asking for trouble. Instead, choose a pilot project, something that's relatively self-contained and has a clear business value.
So dip our toes in the water before taking the plunge.
Right.
I can see the wisdom in that. It's less risky, and it gives you a chance to learn as you go.
Exactly. Your pilot project will be your testing ground. You can iron out any wrinkles in your process and build confidence within your team. And once you've got that pilot under your belt, you can start scaling up your Fabric implementation.
Gradually migrate more workloads to the platform, expand your team's expertise, and eventually you'll be operating fully in the Fabric world. It's a journey, not a sprint.
Right,
Okay?
you got it. It takes time and effort to really unlock the full potential of Fabric. But with careful planning and a commitment to continuous learning, you can make this transition a success.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Microsoft Fabric. We started with sticker shock, explored some smart cost-saving tactics, and ended up with a roadmap for success.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting journey.
It has. And, I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that this shift to Fabric isn't just about technology. It's about changing how we think about data and its role in driving business value.
I agree.
So as you embark on your Fabric journey, remember to embrace that mindset shift. Be curious, be creative, and be bold.
And who knows, you might discover something amazing.
That's it for our deep dive into Microsoft Fabric. We hope you found it insightful and are ready to start exploring this powerful new platform. Remember to check out the article we've been discussing, Strategizing for Success, Navigating the Power BI License Hike for Analytic Decision Makers, for even more tips and resources.
Great article.
Until next time, keep diving deep into the world of data.
And stay curious.
Bye, everyone.